So, earlier today I came on and I did my Martin Luther King Jr. Day special video, and that was all good and it was fun and I enjoyed making that video. It was a little shorter than some of my other videos, but basically I talked about how Martin Luther King Jr. inspired me because he managed to accomplish his goals very peacefully and using a very idealistic agenda that I would have discredited as unrealistic and overly idealistic had I lived at that time. And yet he still managed to accomplish so much. But in spite of this, in spite of everything he managed to do, racism is still a problem today. And since he was cut short and interrupted during his work, unable to continue to fight for racial equality and to battle racial inequality, I think it is our responsibility as Americans to take up where he left off whenever he was assassinated. But whenever we try to do this, especially whenever black people try to do this, they are often badgered and attacked and discredited with this tool that people use as an obstacle to prevent other individuals from exposing their racism. Of course, what I'm talking about is the race card. And essentially what that is if a black individual, and we don't do this so much to white people, but like if a black individual runs into a white individual and that white individual makes an ambiguously racist comment and the black individual says, dude, that's racist, then everyone accuses the black guy of calling upon the race card and it just automatically ignores him and devalues his opinion, doesn't even listen to what he has to say, his argument, his defense for himself. They automatically say that he is trying to use his additional skin pigments as a crutch with which to carry himself through society and to become a victim. And a lot of the times this is very, very unfortunate because a lot of the times whenever the black guy comes up to the white guy and says, dude, that's racist, the white guy's actually a racist. And we do this with the anti-Semite card a whole lot too. And I'm sure there are other specializations for it. But in particular, it's the race card just as targeted at black people and the anti-Semite card as specialized against Jewish people. And we really do. We use this so that people can't expose us or call us out whenever we make a stupid comment. And I'm not even saying that every time the white guy is racist. And what I think a lot of the time will happen is the white guy will say something that is racist without really thinking or considering it, and that's not really a good expression of how he feels or views the issue, but he'll just say something stupid because we all sometimes misexpress ourselves, misrepresent ourselves, and say something, and then whenever we think about it, we're like, oh, wait, I don't feel that way. And then whenever the black guy comes out, he'll make an accusation addressing the white guy instead of what the white guy said. So it's attacking the sinner and not the sin, and it's an ad hominem. And I think that, yeah, we should discourage that to some degree, except where it's appropriate to have an ad hominem attack. For example, if you want an individual who's a good president, you want him to have certain qualifications, and it would be an ad hominem attack to say he's unqualified. But if he is in fact unqualified, you need somebody to show you that. You need the media, you need research institutions, you need to be made aware of that. And it is the media and information sources, it's their responsibility to make sure you're aware of everything that's relevant. But so often in the case of racial arguments, the individual isn't important. What is important is what the individual is doing, his actions, or what he represents. For example, if he is defending a law that is discriminatory, that's just his political view, and we shouldn't attack him. Or we shouldn't even try to discredit what he has to say. We should hear what he has to say and then address that. But at the same time, whenever someone does throw out that accusation, we need to hear what he has to say and address that. We need to say, okay, well, no, this isn't racist because X, or this is racist because Y. But instead what we do is we just say the race card, and then automatically stop listening, close our ears, and freeze up all debate. And by calling the race card into play, we manage to just shut people up, and the discussion is over. At the end, you're wrong. And we don't do this against white people like we do it against black people. I'm going to give you an example. During the elections, Obama's preacher made some very ignorant and hateful statements, some very angry statements, and nothing he said was explicitly racist. And don't get me wrong, I think, yeah, he's racist. I listened to his speech, and the impression I got based off of that is that this guy has some kind of deep-seated hatred within himself against white people, and that's something that he needs to work on. So I'm not even saying that I disagree when they accused him of being racist, but what I am saying is that with the exception of the Democrats who were defending him in order to defend Obama, nobody really stood up for this guy and said, well, nothing he said was racist. Nobody really said that, and we just sort of accepted that, yeah, he's racist, and he was discredited because of that. And perhaps rightfully so, because a lot of what he was saying was ignorant and inaccurate. And, of course, some of what he's saying had some foundation in the truth. He brought up, for example, the Tuskegee incident, and he said that we injected the African-American community with syphilis. Okay, it's not right, it's wrong. We didn't inject them with syphilis, but it's not also completely inaccurate. It's not like he just made it up and threw it out there to kind of attack white people. This is a real historical incident. It's the Tuskegee incident, and essentially what we did is there were African Americans who had syphilis, and they came to us for treatment, and we told them that they were being treated, but in actuality they were being given placebos, and we just wanted to see how the disease would progress if left untreated. So the Tuskegee incident was a real thing. What he was talking about was a real historical incident. He just kind of bought into the sort of popular misconception concerning that, where it's a little inaccurate, but what he was arguing was still valid in that instance. But he was called racist, and everybody was okay with calling him racist, even though nothing he said was explicitly racist. And a little while later, Obama wins the election, and he's president, and he's making a speech, and this Republican stands up and says, "You lie!" And everybody was just kind of astounded with this, and he wound up being accused of being a racist. And that was ridiculous. I do agree that it was a silly thing, because the guy's just a Republican. He disagrees with Obama, not because Obama's black and he's white, but because he's a Republican and Obama's a Democrat, and Republicans and Democrats clash. That's the point. That's what they're supposed to do. That's the point of having the separate political parties, is that they check and balance one another, and that they're going to conflict. And that's what the whole idea of having a party system is about, or in part. And so I don't even think he was racist, and I do think that the accusation was a attempt to silence him. But what's interesting about this is that everybody noticed that they were just trying to discredit what he had to say whenever he was accused of being racist. Everyone said, well, you're calling the race card, and called their race card, and they just shut him up. And everybody, you know, the media got together and had a big laugh and just blew off the accusation. And everybody saw through it and realized that it was just an attempt to discredit this guy and just to silence him and to make sure people didn't listen to what he had to say. And but nobody did that for Obama's preacher. Whenever we came out and accused him of racism to shut him up and to get him to stop saying his crap, then everybody's okay with that and they jump on the bandwagon. He's racist. But whenever a black guy, or it wasn't even a black guy, it was a white guy on behalf of a black guy accusing another white guy. So I guess you do it to white men sometimes whenever they're defending black men or representing black men. But by and large, this is a tool we use against the black community or the minority communities in general. And the anti-Semite card, of course, is specialized towards the Jews. So it's not only the blacks, it goes, you know, everyone's getting hit by this, but it remains a tool used to silence people that you should be aware of. Thank you for watching my video.